So I am the Installation Resiliency Program Manager. I know many of you are probably expecting Marissa Weinberg. She's out of town, and so I get to fill in for her. So you kind of get the B team, but happy to be here. Oh, whoops. So I want to talk about, I've been asked to talk about the Sentinel Landscape. The term Sentinel Landscape, the word Sentinel means guard, protector of a landscape. So the Sentinel Landscape was developed in 2013, but I just want to go back a little bit to the genesis of how this all came about. When military installations were first in place, they were done so in areas that were far removed from civilization for obvious reasons. They didn't want to put military installations where there was a lot of people living because of the activities that take place there. So over time, urban sprawl, urban development started to draw closer and closer to military installations. And so back in the early 2000s, Congress recognized that we need to do something about what they called encroachment around military installations, because a lot of the incompatible development was creating some problems with the ability to train and carry out operations on the military properties. And so Congress approved, or they passed a law that actually gave positive authority to use appropriated funds to work with willing landowners and other land managers, land trusts, to do conservation easements and that sort of thing around certain portions of military installations to protect them from incompatible development. Over time, in 2013, the Department of War, the Department of Defense at the time, and also the Department of Agriculture and the Department of Interior realized that there were shared interests. A lot of the work that was being done around these military installations, there was some shared incentives and interests and concerns. So they signed a memorandum of understanding establishing the Sentinel Landscape program. And so it started out with 6 different Sentinel Landscapes, and now we're up to 21. So these are the Sentinel Landscapes that are across the nation, and the Great Salt Lake Sentinel Landscape, you can see, is about 2 years old. How it came about is in 2023, the state of Utah recognized the opportunity to have a Sentinel Landscape. That's when I kind of came into the picture. I had recently retired from the Army after 35 years, former commander of Camp Williams, and had a lot of different things going on around Camp Williams to protect the installation from a lot of development. We established we did a proposal to get this designation for the Great Salt Lake Sentinel Landscape. And it's not by mistake that it's called the Great Salt Lake Sentinel Landscape, because the Great Salt Lake is central to everything that we do. The installations that are within the Sentinel Landscape is Hill Air Force Base, Camp Williams, Tooele Army Depot, and the Little Mountain Test Facilities. So during the proposal process, we started to pull together some partners that were interested in participating, and in October of 24, we had our first meeting. And during the process, we had to determine what was the boundary going to be. And so I had a bunch of maps printed out, and we divided up into groups, and we put everybody on tables. We gave them some colored markers, and we said, okay, start marking up these maps and show us where your concerns are. What migration corridors, what watersheds, anything that has to do with natural resources, where is your areas of concern. And so that's how we came up with this boundary of 2.77 million acres. We didn't give a crayon to a 5-year-old and gave him a picture of a map, even though it looks like that. It's actually a very well thought out boundary that makes a lot of sense. And all 50 plus partners, federal, state, local, nonprofit. They have found that they have shared interests and concerns within those within that boundary. The Great Salt Lake Sentinel Landscape is centered around 4 specific goals, and they're not necessarily in any kind of particular prioritization order. The first one is to maintain military installation and community resilience. And so I really enjoyed the speakers before me, because everything that was talked about directly relates to military readiness, because you can't have a resilient military installation unless you have a resilient community ecosystem environment. It all ties together. And just to give you an example, in 2022, there was an F-35 that crashed on Hill Air Force Base. The pilot lived, but the crash site, even though it was within the boundary of Hill Air Force Base, it was within a golf shot of private land. And so the type of work that is being done with conservation around the installations is vital. Mitigating catastrophic wildfire. This picture was taken with my phone in 2012. It was the Pinion Fire started by lightning. And it was soon after that that we started doing a very aggressive livestock grazing program. There's nothing like having 1,000 leather-covered lawnmowers out there chewing down your fuels to help mitigate the wildland fire fuel. And of course, water resources and the Great Salt Lake, central to our operation in the military. And then preserving critical habitat for wildlife. If the critical habitat is disrupted, if it's eliminated, it actually has impacts on military readiness. So how the Sentinel Landscape benefits the Great Salt Lake? It serves as a formalized structure to bring partners together to orchestrate and collaborate cross-level resources, cross-level expertise. And for 2 years now, it's been a phenomenal thing to see how these wonderful partners have come together and collaborate and work together. We've already are experiencing a lot of great success. It's linked to national security. Many of you may not know that the military installations on camp in Utah are vital to our military readiness and to our national defense. New funding opportunities, that's a big one. It's actually in the National Defense Authorization Act that agencies are asked to give priority consideration to Sentinel Landscapes. And the biggest thing is these national connections. The national level Sentinel Landscape program brings tremendous expertise and best practices to the forefront so that we can utilize and take advantage of that experience. These are some of the partners just by logo. There's many more that are not listed. If you are interested in becoming a partner in the Sentinel Landscape, just let Marissa know, or I'll be available during lunch. This is just an organizational chart. This is how the magic happens. We have an executive committee, we have a steering committee, but where the rubber really meets the road is with the working groups. These are the subject matter experts. These are the people in the trenches that know the issues, they know the opportunities, they know what projects, and then they get that gets pushed up to the steering committee to decide, what is the prioritization of these projects. So with that, that's Marissa Weinberg's contact information. I'll be available at lunch to answer any questions. That's a quick around the world overview of the Sentinel Landscape, but I appreciate your time. Thank you.